Welcome back to some Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. Shall we see what's going on a lovely little island of Fawnhollow today? I was about to start recording Animal Crossing, and I looked and I was like, oh, I don't even have OBS open, so that was good. I was just playing Animal Crossing. Yeah, let's get down to business. To water some plants. Huh. I don't know where I'm going with this. Obviously, a parody of I'll Make a Man Out of You. Not Cool Be a Man from Mulan, surprisingly enough, and it was one of his misnomers for common videos like Britney Spears. Wait, is it Oops I Did It Again or Baby One More Time? I can't remember. One of them's right, the other one's wrong. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 3:24pm on Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. Bum bum bum. Ooh baby. Wait. Oops I Did It Again or Hit Me Baby One More Time. It's Oops I Did It Again, isn't it? Oops I Did it again. Let's see, Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again. This is the same song, isn't it? Hit Me. Oh, it's wrong. Wait, hold on. Oops, I did it again. Hit me, baby, one more time. It's not called Hit Me, Baby, One More Time. It's called Baby One More Time. There we go. Okay, yes. Hold on. Getting my Britney Spears songs completely confused. Okay, now that we stood here for about a minute, let's get back into it. I just had to know, it was a burning question. Stoneham's Rambler. Sometimes writing letters is nice because you can write things that you might not say out loud in person. Then again, I say almost everything out loud. Yours and soreness, Rowan. We've had that letter before, unfortunately, so tossed into the ether it goes. Never to be saved until Nintendo allow us to increase our mailbox size sooner or later. Ooh, a new message. Mayday is coming. Oh yeah, because there was an update just before I did this. I started recording. Hello, Leif. We unfortunately don't need use of your services, so I'll give you a pass. Yeah, I did an update just beforehand, and I was like, oh, new update. I was like, oh yeah, wait, hold on, old update, but new again, repackaged. Yeah, so what we've been up to today. Nothing too special. Actually, kind of something special. Well, it's not that special. I'm getting your hope up for no reason. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get you something big for Christmas, and I'd just get you like, I don't know, a new coffee mug. It's like, wow, it's new newsprint helmet for Children's Day. I can't remember if we got this or not, so we're going to order it anyway. I'm pretty sure we have this already, so we're going to order it anyway. Yeah, just started off day as normal. Play some games. New Genshin Impact update's out. That's very exciting. Housing stuff. This is pretty in depth from what I've seen. I haven't really played much of it. Then I did some drawing. That's not very exciting, so there you go. Then, what did I do after that? I don't remember what I did after that. Probably something miscellaneous, fill in the blanks here. And then, only just recently, I went to have an injection. You might be, ooh, COVID injection? No, it's not a COVID injection, it's just medication, I suppose. HRT and all that stuff. But, I mean, I'd say it's exciting, but it's not the first time I've had this injection either. It's the second time, luckily much more locally now, instead of having to go quite far away, quite a few hours drive, to have it in the first place. But that was nice. A deer scare. Whoa. Sorry, it's just so scary. What was a deer scare? Is like that bamboo thing, which like it goes bong when it hits the ground once it fills up. Yeah, I didn't realise we were missing a bamboo recipe, to be honest. I wonder if that's a new one, like one they've added this recent patch, or not, or perhaps we just got unlucky. Unlucky, to quote Tudadunga. Something. Okay. Oh, dive for sea creatures. Fell a tree. Talk to people. Catch fish. Plant a tree or shrub. Okay, we can do that. We can certainly do that. We will just see Ismelia. She's not there. Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't particularly exciting. It just happened. The general practitioners rather empty. Probably good for now. Although I suppose they're probably handing out vaccinations when they can. I don't really know about that process. I'd imagine I'm quite far down on that list, which is completely fine. I should be far down on that list. I'm, as far as I know, relatively healthy. No breathing troubles or anything. Not a vulnerable person. Nor in contact with vulnerable people, so, you know, they should probably get the vaccine first. I can wait. And plus I'm a bit of a shut-in anyway. Why not? Shut-in's a bit too extreme, but I like being indoors. I like the peace. I like the quiet. So You know, I'm not particularly in a rush to get a vaccine if I don't need to. I'll wait my turn at 9, you know. We're British, you know. Orderly queues are our sort of thing. The heck's going on? I know. So I was just looking over to Discord. What should we talk about today? I had something I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it was though. Oh, he just gave us some. Oh, that was actually a new dialogue option. Sorry, I just skipped through it. I just assumed it was something old. I don't know. What did I want to talk about? There was something I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it was though. It's not often I go in with being like, oh, I want to talk about this thing before I start recording, but I immediately forgot it. But I was thinking about it earlier. I don't know. What should we talk about instead? Britney Spears? Hit me, baby, one. I can't believe I got them confused as the same song. Oops, I did it again. I lost in the game. More than just friends. Oh, baby, baby. You know, have you seen that Britney Spears viral video? Where she's like performing a song, I don't even know which one it is. Maybe I do know which one it is. No, I don't think I know what it is. And I tried to think about it, search my memory banks. Can't think off the top of my head. Not too familiar with Britney Spears oeuvre, as they might say. But she goes like brown, 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 and it pauses. And then some guy in the crowd yells out, "Who is it?" And then Britney goes, "It's Britney, B." Well, she doesn't go B, but she swears. But you know, I'm gonna say that. I don't know what you just said, Hero. Not Hero, Bruce. Oh wait, we need to give this to Jakey. It was probably someone like we haven't spoken in a long time. That's fair enough. I forget who I haven't spoken to, so I should probably just speak to everyone I see along my path. But we are just trying to find whoever our other recipe person is. Then we'll just, I suppose, be back to our Nook Mile grinding. Back to our Nook Mile mines. Oh, hello, Rowan. What you think about? Pete catchphrase is a little tired. Okay, change it. Why don't we change it to... What's the current slang that people are using? Bonk. No, we're not going to do bonk. That's not appropriate. Oh, hey, I didn't mean to quit like that. This is where we go to Urban Dictionary, and we'll see what the latest slang on Urban Dictionary is that is appropriate. Based. Oh, wait, that came up in the Google results. That's such a good one. Based. Based, so when you catch phrases based. Based is like when someone does something which is like, I'm not sure how you'd phrase it, representative of your values, I suppose. You'd be like, oh, based. I don't know, slang's hard to describe, especially when I don't even understand it properly. Like, not that I don't understand it properly, but it's more like it's not like I learned it through definition, like a lot of other English synonyms and that sort of thing. I learned it through contextual usage. Where are you, JK? Where are you? And I'm so lonely. I don't know what song it is. I haven't even heard the original. I just hear people do it, like that fake parody of it, with a very exaggerated voice, and thus it is in my head. Hey, hun. Yeah, it's hard to describe things with contextual matters. It's only like defining words in the first place. Like, respect to etymologists. Well, etymologists, I guess, study the origin of words. That's not really defining them. But how do you define a word without using the word itself? Like, some words easier said than others, if there's like strong synonyms for it. So like, I don't know, frustrated would be like, oh, very angry at something. You know, it works out quite easily. Let's put these flowers down, I suppose. But when it goes to how do you describe the word and without using it? Okay, well, it's I guess you had to sort of define what it is. Like, it's a connecting word. Preposition? It's not a preposition. Hold on. I should remember this. It's I don't know, particle of speech used to connect to relevant idea. Well, it doesn't need to be relevant ideas, just used to connect two things together, I suppose, in a sentence. That seems a bit strange, and I don't know, I don't even know if that definition's worth something, but also, better question, who even needs those definitions? Because, I mean, like, obviously definitions for unusual words, like, I don't know, ubiquitous, you might need a definition for, because you probably, I mean, not everyone's ever heard of that word. You need a dictionary, look up that definition, bada bing, bada boom, you've now expanded your vocabulary, or if you're like me, you'll learn about it, be like, that's what it means, and then you'll forget about it. And next time you run into it again, you'll be like, I knew I looked this up, And at one point I knew what this meant. Fortunately, I don't remember it anymore. I mean, you have to look it up again. Repeat that about 5 more times before it finally settles into your memory, and then you're like, got it. Right, let's go deep sea diving, why not? Anyway, but who needs, like, definitions for the word the? Okay, I'll come up with a reason. What if you are learning the English language and you don't have the equivalent of a word the in your language? You might need an English definition of a word the just to sort of understand it properly, right? Now here's a question, is there a common language out there which, or I should say common group of languages, I want to say, like a subset like Germanic or whatever, Romantic languages out there which don't, some subset of languages which don't have the word or an equivalent of a word the in their language? Probably. Actually, does Chinese even have it? What kind of, I guess? I guess I kind of answered my own question, haven't I? Yeah, I guess it kind of doesn't. Hold on. Am I losing my mind? I'm probably just forgetting something. Chinese translation for the. I just put the rat. That's not what I meant to. For the. Free Chinese translation. How do you translate the? Ja. That's what I said, but ja. Naga. I guess, yeah, it can be used as the, can't it? Anyway, that's not really important. We're not here for Chinese language lessons because I'm not qualified for that sort of thing. Anyway. Okay. Option 2. You are a young child learning the English language. And for some reason, you haven't quite grasped the concept of the word the yet, which is fair enough. But I feel like if you haven't grasped the concept of the word the yet, using that definition isn't really going to help you. Actually, let's see what the Googled, the Oxford Dictionary definition of that is. Define the. I can never type define correctly. Whenever I type, I always type define. Define. I don't know why. Define. I always type Daphne, which is, you know, not boy. Anyway, sorry. The denoting one or more people or things already mentioned or assumed to be common knowledge. Like, surely, people who need this definition of a word there aren't going to be able to use this definition of the word there because it's so much more complicated, I suppose, than the actual word in itself. But, I mean, it's hard in the first place to even describe it. Let's go catch some fish, isn't it? Use to point forward to a following qualify or defining clause or phrase. It's just like, I know, I suppose it kind of depends on the angle you come from. The point of word definitions, I suppose, is to give them a solid... I was going to say definition, but I can't use the word definition again. A solid description, I suppose, of each and every word that is universally agreed upon and adapts to how language is being used and evolves with time, right? But also primarily as a tool for the layperson, because that sort of thing only really matters, I imagine, to linguists all that much. Like, it's a sort of the same thing where people have with like maths and science and be like, oh, this cool new, they found the new largest prime number or something, and people are just like, cool, how does that affect me? And the truth is that it probably kind of doesn't. Not for a long while, at least. Like, you can make an argument, large prime numbers are using cryptography, yeah, but you can't use that really large prime number, because if you get, if you try and use that really large prime number in your cryptography and someone sees that a really large number being used when trying to crack something, I'll be like, oh, they must have used that really large prime number, because it's only like one of that really large prime number in the first place. So really, you kind of need more prime numbers around that sort of area magnitude before it becomes a commonplace thing to use, and thus would increase, hopefully, the efficacy of can't think of a word. Cryptography, that's not a word. Like, for security of those sort of things, of transactions and, you know, all that good sort of stuff. But still, oh, hey, you exited your house. You're also stuck on a bush. You need a hand? There you go. But it's the same thing, I suppose. But linguists probably, linguists probably face a similar thing. It's like, we've finally defined all the words like the, and something in the universally agreed way to define them. And then people are just be like, oh, cool. Like, I already know what the word "ver" and like and "an" all mean, so like, why do I need this? But it's like, well, okay, maybe you technically don't, but it's good for like historical records and, you know, regulations and keeping a consistent definition, and then it'll be good for historical purposes, especially in the future. Linguists can see how language changes necessarily, because we don't know exactly, maybe this will drop out of usage, because I bet people back in Shakespearean times are like, oh, we'll never stop using vi and vow or whatever, and here we are never using them again. So for, you know, like bookkeeping purposes, well, bookkeeping's a bit misleading, I suppose, but for those sort of purposes, it'd be good to keep a historical record or that sort of thing, so we can have definitive answers, especially for, I don't know, other things. It's quite hard for me to come up with reasons, obviously, because I'm not a linguist, or I'm not even sure a linguist is the right profession to really be concerned with those sort of things. Not as easy for me to come up with ideas or large prime numbers, unsurprisingly. It's like I got a university degree in one of them, and I have only a faint knowledge of. So you might be like, why are you talking about, Sven? Well, it's just, I'm trying to come up with my own reasonings, you know? What's the point of having... I could easily just sit here and be like, oh, it's pointless. There's no need for it. Why not sit here and try and think about it, you know? It's not even like being devil's advocate. I'm not even like having an argument, but, you know, just think about it a bit. Just think. Lol. And see if you can come up with your own reasonings or ideas. A postulation is a creative exercise in thinking. So yeah, like, plenty of reasons to have these word definitions, but I think a point still stands for the lay person, the generic person, I suppose, you know, average 18-year-old to 33 and 40-year-old or something, native English speaker. Definition's not going to be that useful for you, who is not a linguist, I suppose. Definition. Oh, we can catch this fish in time. Wait, do we even need to catch a fish? Hold on. Have we caught 5 fish already? I've just been catching fish. Oh, one more. It's just not going to be all that useful to you. And it might never be that useful to you. That's okay, you know. I'm sure this is the sort of thing which would be applicable to all sorts of different fields. Be like, I think it's easy to be satirical, not satirical, to be snarky and be like, oh, why do we need that? It's a waste of time, isn't it? It's a waste of time to you, yeah. Not necessarily to everyone, though. You shouldn't lump yourself in with the entire general populace or make sweeping assumptions about the general populace, I say. It's the sort of thing like, sorry, always going back to maths examples, but maths examples I suppose are most relatable to me. People are just like, oh, when am I ever going to need to know this? In maths class, like, oh, how to expand these fractions. It's like, well, expand brackets. Maybe you won't, but there's going to be at least like 15 or so people, maybe like half a class, who will need a profession, or who will be going into a profession later on in life, who will need this. They won't need to, you might argue, okay, well, they don't need to necessarily need to know it because they can just look it up later. It's like, well, yes, but familiarity with it, understanding it as a concept, and then being able to apply it later is very important too, you know? Like, imagine you're just like, oh, I'm a lawyer, but I don't know, like, any of the laws of a country. You'd be like, alright, I'm just gonna not hire you as a lawyer, obviously, because I kind of want my lawyers to at least... I'm not saying we need to know every single law of a country, that'd be kind of absurd, but they should be able to, you know, be familiar with them. Actually, it's more like being familiar with the laws of a country would be, well, if anything, everyone should kind of be familiar with the laws of a country, but imagine a world where that's not the case, I suppose, where everyone's good people and they tend to not break laws. Being familiar with the laws of a country just happens to be a sort of a side effect, I suppose, of being able to study it all that often and being so exercised in it, you know? If someone's done a lot of paperwork and cases relating to, like, I don't know, land disputes and that sort of thing, you kind of expect, you kind of want a lawyer, they're going to be familiar with them, basically, with the common laws of land ownership and transference and drawing out new lines and what's allowed and what's not allowed, that sort of thing, and what happens when these people break the law in that aspect. So you want to hire a lawyer who is familiar with those sort of things, right? Why wouldn't you? So of course they've got to be. They don't, technically by definition, they don't have to be familiar with all the laws of the land. But you kind of expect them to, and if they're not, it sort of sends off a red flag in your brain where it's like, maybe this person isn't familiar enough with the laws. And thus shouldn't be trusted, and perhaps they might even be super capable of that job. But it's sort of like a thing where it's like, you should know it. It's the same thing that goes with maths. Like, okay, maybe you don't need to know how to expand brackets out all the time. You can always look it up, or necessarily in some very common integrations. But if you're someone in the future whose job requires that sort of thing, or you'd be requiring lots of integration of that sort of thing, you'd be kind of suspicious if a person you hired was like, yeah, I don't really know how to do it. Because you would have thought they'd be familiar enough, at least when looking it up every single time, to be able to do it. But I suppose it sort of goes two ways, doesn't it? Because being able to look it up and understand the concept you see is probably, I don't know if it's just as important or even more important, or maybe less important than being able to just know off the top of your head. Because I suppose that's something, we don't even need to catch these bugs. Why am I catching bugs? Perhaps there's something which goes, what's this noise? Don't know. Something that's more applicable to, say, programming, for example. Obviously, you'd expect a programmer to know the basics of a language, and there's documentation out there, they could look it up and that sort of thing. But you don't expect them to know everything. You expect them to be able to look things up and adapt what they have to their own purposes and that sort of thing, right? But if you if you're hiring a programmer and your programmer's like, oh, I don't know how to declare a variable, you'd be like, It's sort of down to credibility of all the other things they do. You'd be like, if this person doesn't even know how to declare a variable, what else do they not know how to do? Perhaps nothing. Perhaps they can do everything very competently, but it's just, a worrying thought, I suppose, in the first place. So yeah, all that spawned from word definitions. Basically, word definitions, whether you like it or not, they have a use, probably. Even if I'm not well experienced enough in the field to really understand or conceptualize how useful they are, I don't doubt that they have a use. I know my place in lot in life, I suppose. Well, in relation to word definitions and that sort of thing. Let's not pretend I have more assumed knowledge than I actually do. The rate of Nook Mile mission grinding is actually pretty good right now. We're doing well. I don't know if we'll, because it's possible we might get a mission later on being like dig up some fruit. Sorry, not dig up some plant a fruit tree. So we're sort of just going to leave that for now. And if we don't get one by the end of the episode, we'll plant one separately. So yeah, no, broaden your horizons. New horizons. Word definitions. I know, but the whole point was to have a big amount of respect for people who can explain and define things without using such obvious terms, I suppose. There's a lot of times where someone's necessarily asking me, oh, what's that word mean? Or along with oh, can you explain what this means? I'll try, and I'll be like, I'm not that great at explaining things in the first place. But not being able to use that word, especially because I feel like a lot of my understanding for words, I think, I would not be surprised if a lot of more uncommon words I've used, I've learned their definitions not necessarily by looking up a definition in a dictionary or other relevant, not service, but tool, but so much I've inferred its use and its meaning from conversation, which makes it difficult to put into words exactly how to explain it. It's sort of just like I don't know what it means, but I can use it in a sentence. And maybe if I just keep doing that, that's how you learn it too. Which, to be fair, is kind of how you learn the English language well, not just English language, or any language in the first place, right? Just as a kid, you just sort of get exposed to sort of things. It's not like your parent sits you down, it's like, right, you're 4 years old, and that's our time to understand how verbs and conjugation works. And if that was how it worked, if you're French, then good luck, I suppose. Well, I suppose any other language, which actually has verb conjugations. What's my point? I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how you learn language in the first place, isn't it? Just inferring meaning from whatever, from like your parents speaking around you. Maybe they'll like point to an apple, and they'll be like, apple, and you're like, blah, 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 apple, or something, because you're like a baby or whatever. And then they'll get out of the camcorder and be like, what? Look, dear, the baby said apple. It's like, no way. It's like stomp, 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 runs over. He's like, do it again. I mean, you just... Oh, I didn't need to eat this. I meant to do a separate stack. So I guess we'll just sort of... No, don't plant that. You crazy? I said oatmeal, are you crazy? We're gonna need a spare coconut. You put the lime in the coconut. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how you learn language in the first place, just inferring meaning from sentences that people around you say, and then you... I suppose, if you're a particularly inquisitive kid, you might be like, what does that mean? That sort of thing. I'm trying to think, because I don't know if I told the story before. When I was younger, for some reason, I don't know if I've read a lot of books when I was younger, but I must have assumed I did, or something. But back in reception, I was pretty good at reading compared to the rest of my class, which is, or even nursery even. I remember I went to like, we were doing like this, I was meant to do a separate stack of that. Reading session, I suppose, as a group. The teacher apparently noticed or something, was like, hey, I went to my parents and said, your child is a lot better at reading, so I think she could be in a separate reading class. And they were like, sure, whatever. And I remember, I actually don't know if they approached my parents or whatever. I went to a separate room with like another teacher assistant, and we read like a higher grade books. Skipped out an entire grade or two, or a reading level. That's how good I am. Not to brag or anything. And I remember the first time I ran into it, we had like group reading sessions, because they became like, I don't know, group reading sessions, I guess, at some point. With people in my class, and we need to buy some stuff, so let's buy some customization kits. And it was all good fun. And then I ran into a word which I didn't understand. And by that time I already had a reputation, I suppose, for being, I suppose, a kid with higher than average reading comprehension, I don't know. So I remember it was a friend's teacher who was doing a reading class, and I was like, whoa, this is the first time I've ever heard you not understand a word. I was like, yeah. I just remember being really annoyed at the time because they kept talking about it, because I was just like, someone just tell me what the word means. I just want to know what this word means. I can't remember what word was. I think it was like complicated or something. For some reason in my mind it starts with C, and I remember it was a Magic Key series, which is like a... I don't know if it's a UK, but I've always assumed it was a UK like children's book series where you can learn about, I don't know, it's just a children's book series about, with like, what's his name? Biff? I think someone's called Sarah, maybe? Isn't someone called Kipper? It's like Biff, Sarah, Kipper, and the dog. Is that right? Oh, well, no, someone's called Chip, isn't it? I don't know who's called Chip. Maybe the dog's called Chip. The Magic Key. Oh my god. It looks so different from how I remember. Everyone's just got dots for eyes. Oh, Kipper, Biff, Chip. Wait, there was only 3 main characters? Oh, Floppy the dog. Christopher Kipper Robinson, Elizabeth Biff Robinson, David Chip Robinson. I don't know how on earth I remembered some of those. But there you go. I think it was in one of those books, and he used a word, and I was like, I don't know what this word is. Or maybe it wasn't, I don't know what this word is, or maybe it was like, I didn't know how to say that word. So I just remember just asking, so how do you say this word? I mean, I just remember getting annoyed, being like, why won't anyone tell me, like, what this word is, or how to say it? Or maybe it was just my pride. But like, oh, I'm a smart kid. I need to know everything. Definitively untrue, and should not ever be true. Or if it is true, wow, that's actually astonishing. You're literally once in, not even a lifetime, once in all of existence kind of person. And you might think, hey, that sounds pretty unreasonable, I don't think that's true. Well, sounds like one of us is alive then, isn't it, aren't we? Take that random straw man I've constructed in my head. An argument, but I don't even know what my point was anymore. Anyway, so basically, word definitions, good. Big thumbs up for me. Well, a lot of things get a thumbs up for me, I suppose. So maybe that's not too surprising. Obviously not illegal things or bad things, okay? Word definitions are quite innocuous, I think. Anyway, should we round this episode off here? Random straw man I've again constructed in my head. But if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Adam across New Horizons. I've been Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, all greatly appreciated. Links down below. Hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.